It's more confusing than Inception, harder than an erection. It's cooler than Andre 3000. Oh, let's get ready for Sweet Connection.
Hello and welcome to Sweet Connection. I'm your host, Kat. As with me today, Jason Lewis. Jason, how you doing?
Hello. All right. Yeah. You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right.
All right.
So it's been a few weeks since we last did a show.
Yes.
I'm not sure how many weeks. Could look it up, but I'm not going to.
I think it's 3 or 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's
so that's
been a
fine.
while.
But there's a reason for that. Is that we're on proper lockdown now, aren't we?
Proper improper. It's not
Yeah.
as full on as last time, is it?
It's diet lockdown.
It's exactly the same as what it has been for the last 2.5 months.
Because I can't believe it's not lockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. I'm sure that'll get onto that. We've got, obviously, more pressing stuff about that.
Yeah, more important things to talk about.
First of all, most important thing is a fantastic anniversary, and that is, you've been on the show for over 2 years.
No.
Because if we'd done the show a couple of weeks ago,
yeah,
that would have, because you started at the end of October 2018. Therefore, it's been over 2 years since you've been doing a show. Isn't that interesting?
Just think about how much has changed in those 2 years.
A tiny bit.
Not a lot, yeah.
Literally, this room is exactly the same.
Yeah, that poster is still wonky.
Was that poster there when you first came in? Probably not.
No, I think
that wasn't there.
It was something. We had something. Oh.
That's a recent addition, I think.
Okay, so the one thing that has changed, I pointed out,
is a wonky poster.
Yeah, it's still either too hot or too cold in this room. It's never just right.
How is that now?
The desk has changed.
Cold?
It's a bit warm, isn't it?
Well,
but let's remember.
Yeah, but you're wearing a formal fucking work shirt.
Yeah, true.
I'm in a fucking t-shirt.
Normally does a shirt. It does the show in a shirt and bloody joggy bottoms. Business on the top, party downstairs.
Exactly.
But let's not remember 2 years ago we were recording on a miniature pool table.
On a pool table, yeah.
And instead we've now got desks.
We've gone up in the world.
We've got the first ever episode. You just done it sat on your sofa, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah, just holding...
Yeah, but that was not with you. That was with someone else.
Yeah, so we've done a minute silence for them.
It was a better host, if you will.
Wow.
But,
no,
2 years.
The show's come a long way.
It has come a long way.
You have not.
No.
Well, to be fair, I've had a kid, you got married. That's quite big.
Yeah, but for show purposes, we haven't really...
Yeah, we've had no money.
I mean, the conversations...
No sponsorship. No guests.
I mean, the conversations that we've had in the past 2 years would not have changed whether...
we were doing this or not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same. So that's good. I just thought that I'd let people
Where
know
have we gone wrong?
Where have we gone right? I believe is the question. But on a second anniversary announcement, it's my birthday today. Not while you're listening to this, because this won't be put out until, I don't know, 3 or 4 days later. But as of recording, it is my birthday.
It is.
Want to guess how old I am?
Well, you're a little bit older than me. You're 26.
26, yeah. How old do I look?
About 40.
You know what? Last year, I was at a festival, and one of my friends asked a girl she was speaking with, "How old do you think I am?" And she said 40. And at that point, I would have been 24.
Oh.
And I was just like, well, that's
now, I'd
good.
say you look late 20s, which is now what you are.
Yeah, but I've always looked like this, because I used to get served in pubs when I was 15, 16. So I've always looked...
You're such a lawbreaker.
I've always looked about 30.
Came out of the womb with a bloody pension scheme.
Exactly. So anyway...
Came out of the womb asking for a carling. That's what you were. All right, Mum. Where's my lager?
Give me a pint. So,
who's around?
How have you been for the past few weeks?
Shit.
That's good.
Yeah, shit.
Care to elaborate on anything you want to talk about on the show? Or just...
I'm alright. I've been alright. Still continue to work. Still continue to live. Just can't go to the pub. Can't play football. Can't...
Yeah, but you could never really play football.
Oh, that's true. That's true. So we're talking about my football career, weren't we?
I'm sure we'll get onto that. Let's just get on to how you've been doing the past few weeks, because I've already got on here how was your football career going.
Okay.
So
right. Okay.
Let's not jump ahead of ourselves.
It's been alright, isn't it? You just do what you do. Just get by. Take the day as the wind comes.
Yeah. Have you found working from home?
I haven't been. Obviously, because of my previous job, I was already working.
Neither have
from
I,
home.
to be fair.
You haven't been working.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. I left my job the other day, so I literally have not been working from home.
Such a bum. And before people say, "Oh bloody hell, the podcast is still well that he can leave his job," it's not. It's not.
That is not related to the podcast.
Yeah, but no, my last job was working from home, and I couldn't stand it, so I left the job so I can be back in an office. So then we go in lockdown. So that was fun. I had to self-isolate for 10 days.
You sent me a message saying that you'd come into contact with someone who apparently had got
the track and
COVID.
trace, which was swiftly turned off after that happened, told me I had to self-isolate for 10 days because I was at risk of having COVID. Didn't have it, weren't allowed to have a test.
So did you find out who it was that had potentially given you?
The app doesn't tell you. I know GDPR can't tell me who, but it'd be nice to tell me where and when. But I don't know. The only time I could work it out was... well, it must be this, is I went to watch my nephew's football. But the thing is, I stood on the sidelines, like, pretty much on my own, and then one of the parents has been tested positive for COVID, but I weren't anywhere near anyone else. So that's the only time I can think of where it's gone. Then again, it could have gone off and I was, like, in a restaurant, or... I don't know. Don't really care.
Have you been in a restaurant in the past few weeks?
A few weeks ago, before they were all closed again, I used to
Did
go...
you?
Yeah, I went out... Well,
where'd you go?
Fludgers.
Fludgers, that's a very nice local pub.
Yeah, it's quite fancy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would invite you.
How was it?
I think you're a prick.
Thanks for the invite.
It was alright, to be fair. I had a fish finger sandwich.
So you go to a posh pub.
It was a posh fish finger sandwich.
And you order essentially a fish finger sandwich.
Yeah, but...
Which is not posh.
Yeah, but you know what that place is like. That's like one of the only decent things on the lunch menu.
I haven't been to the Fludgers
I'll take
years.
you there. I'll take you there. Now you're an unemployed bum. When it's open again, we'll go there.
Thanks.
Right. Treat you as a birthday present, but you're paying.
Brilliant. Well, that's good. So yeah, I've got a job. I've had a week off. I am unemployed at the moment.
And why were you sacked?
I was not sacked. Let's just get that out of the way. I chose to leave, and I left rather admirably.
If you were sacked, what reasons would it have been? I reckon sexual harassment. Or like shitting on the staff toilet walls. That's a bit of you, isn't it?
No, although we did have someone at my work. They went to have a shit in the toilet, obviously, and but they forgot to lock the door because they're like sort of unisex toilets. Like someone else tried to open the door, and they just opened the door on like a man just taking a shit, who then tried to horribly close the door.
Oh my god! I used to have when I used to work in Ipswich, the next town. It was really weird. So we were one office that was a 4-story building, and next door was another office that was a 4-story building. But we shared the top floor, and that was it. And the top floor was where like the communal kitchen was, and there was also one toilet there, and it was the only toilet in the building that had heating. So I used to go up and make teas for everyone when I wanted a shit. And you think about it, you have to go up to the 4th floor. Stick the kettle on, so I used to go for a shit and have the heater on and all that sort of stuff. And then next door, we're trying to get into that toilet. So I'm there having a shit with the heating on, like having a wonderful time, and then you just hear I need to use the toilet, please. And the key detail I didn't tell you, it was a ladies' toilet.
Oh yes, because you used to go to the toilet in the ladies' toilet. You never did quite entirely say why you did that.
Because it had heating. That was literally it.
Right, well that's great. So, Jason, have you heard the news about the US election?
I have.
Now, this should definitely take out quite a lot of the show, let's be honest. So, What happened? Why did it happen? And are you happy?
What happened? Trump lost. Biden won. Trump doesn't admit it. Wants to recount, even though he can't count himself. Am I happy? I'm delighted.
But the very crucial thing is that he wants to stop counting votes in the states where he's ahead, but he wants to keep counting votes in the states where he's behind.
Yeah, he's being such a sore loser. The main worrying thing is how many people still voted for him.
Even though Joe Biden, he got the most votes for a presidential election. He got like 71 million votes.
Which is more than the whole population of England.
Correct. However, Donald Trump still got like 67 million votes.
Yeah.
Which is like 47% odd of the population.
That's crazy.
Like, I'm genuinely interested to know, what did they think he's done well over the past 4 years? Because all he's done
made friends with Kim Jong-un.
But not even friends, because for the first half of their relationship, he was calling him Little Rocket Man. So it's not like he's a great diplomat. Obviously, like sort of we see on this side of the ocean some of the classic Trump voters.
We see like the highlights, don't we?
Which are the proper half people, half vegetable. But there are obviously millions of reasonable Americans who still voted for him.
And 48% of America can't be like massive Trump supporters that we see on social media.
So that's what I want to know. I want to see the reasonable people who can construct a sentence who voted for Trump, as opposed to the fringe fucking conspiracy theorists who think that Obama was born in Kenya, blah, blah, blah. There has got to be no doubt that over the past 4 years, he's just not kept a single promise, all right? Here's me going to praise Donald Trump for a second. When he was running first, his like sort of presidential promises and his policies, albeit were crap, were very clear because they were all 3-word policies. First policy was lock her up, which was to obviously lock up Hillary Clinton, drain the swamp, which was to try and get like millionaires out of Washington DC who are making all of the decisions, build that wall, which was to build a 2,000-mile long wall across the US-Mexico border.
Never done.
I'm getting to that, right? And repeal and replace, to repeal Obamacare and replace it with something else.
Which was replace it with what they were using before, which didn't work.
So there's 4 promises there. Hillary Clinton is not in jail, so he did not lock her up. As for Drain the Swamp, there are more millionaires and more CEOs in the Trump cabinet and in Washington now than there were ever before. Because funnily enough, all of Trump's friends are fucking CEOs and multi-millionaires.
And investors, right? And all
exactly.
That sort of stuff,
So that's a failed promise. Build that wall. He has built some portions of the wall. He's built, again, I don't remember the exact specifics, but it was something like 5-6 miles of wall that he's added.
It's something like 0.3% or something.
Of the actual...
And then there was these like pro-Trump supporters that are building it themselves. They've done more than
in fairness to him, although he only built like 2-3% of new wall, he did replace some of the existing wall, or fence, shall we say, with wall. But again, a very small percentage. And the second one was about repealing Obamacare, which he put a vote to Congress and was turned down. So he's literally not kept any single promise of his core election promises that he did. Now the question is, in between now and January the 20th, which is when, in theory, the next president-elect Joe Biden is going to take over, is he going to graciously concede?
Because that's the thing, isn't it? Especially on election night, it's it's a tradition that the loser graciously accepts defeat. It graciously resigns from the graciously concedes the race, don't they? And he hasn't done that yet.
But let's talk about, because of the pandemic, there were lots of mail-in ballots. Now, Trump would say that mail-in ballots are really easy to hack. Everywhere else in the world, we have mail-in ballots. I vote in this country on mail-in ballots, and it's no problem. And basically, mail-in ballots have a very incredibly safe to use. Because there was a high quantity of mail-in ballots, because of the pandemic and people trying to stay home, it's taken longer for us to count. Now, the election...
Taken them longer, not us. We're not getting involved.
Fine, whatever, all right. But it took longer to count the votes. Now, this time 2 weeks ago, the actual election was on the Tuesday. We would normally find out on the Wednesday, but we didn't find out until Saturday. Because the postal votes, and because there was one state, what was it? Nevada, which was a very crucial state where if Joe Biden won, he'd win the presidency. Which I don't think they've even finished counting. No. They seem to be incredibly slow. Bless them.
Well, because there's people that keep. There's armed people outside, weren't there? Armed Trump supporters.
Armed Trump supporters who he literally told stand outside voting booths and stuff and observe. Fucking shocking. Anyway, that's enough about American politics. You, again, this is before lockdown, you signed up for a Sunday League football team.
Yes.
Would you want to give us some more information about what has happened
since I've last been on the show? I've played 3 more games.
Mm-hmm.
or 2.
Have you won any of the games?
We won one game.
That's good.
And it was a friendly. Yeah, I played 3 more games. So I played 1 league game, 1 cup game, and 1 friendly. Lost the league game, lost the cup game.
But you won the most important game of all, the friendly.
And the game that we won, the friendly, we won 5-3, and I made a fucking howler.
So you still let 3 goals in?
Still let 3 goals in, and one of them was fucking awful. I dived, and it was a wet pitch. I dived for it, and I thought the ball would bounce. You know, like when you do a low shot, I thought it would bounce, and it didn't, and I dived over the ball. And it weren't a very powerful shot. I could have thrown my glove on it.
But sometimes when someone hits a ball and it skims across the grass, especially for someone who's tall like you, for a goalkeeper, getting to those low shots in the corner of the goal, I think are more difficult. Because if someone shoots in the top corner, because you're already standing, you have to jump
shorter distance.
You jump upwards and in an arc and save it. However, technically, if you shoot in the bottom corner, you have to jump and then gravity takes you down. It's longer.
Yeah, I never really thought about it like that.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why. You know, do you want to have a guess at my favourite Premier League striker? He could possibly well be your favourite Premier League striker.
Aubameyang.
No. Played for the same team. Not this era. A few years ago.
Thierry Henry.
Thierry Henry.
Oh, right, okay, sorry.
Thierry Henry. He used to come at the ball from the left, and basically he used to just slot the ball in with his side foot into the right-hand corner.
Yeah.
And just every game he'd do that, and he'd score so many hundreds of goals.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think that's the best.
The problem is, though, the shot I had against me wasn't from Thierry Henry. It was from some 40-year-old bloke. And it had no power on it. And it was one of those ones where it still gained a bit of air. Probably height-wise came up to about my knee. And then, but from about 6 yards away from me, it bounced. So I would have thought it would bounce up, but it bounced and stayed really low. And so I dived, not very high, not like I dived for the top corner, but I dived across. And instead of it coming off the ground a little bit, it just stayed on the ground. So I came off the ground and the ball was along the ground and it just looked fucking awful.
Okay, but you still won though. So that's
still
the main
won,
thing.
But someone else in goal probably would have kept the clean sheet.
Me, for example.
Sure.
Well, were there a few lobs that I'd have just flapped at and dismissed?
And then, annoyingly, we played a league game the week after, and
So, what are the other 2 goals that you let in?
One was from 20 yards out, top corner. Probably should have saved it.
Yeah,
and then the third goal, guy went clean
if
through
it's a
goal.
top corner, do you have to, at this level?
Yeah,
you're not expected to do as.
I still think I could have done better. And then the third goal, he was clean through from the halfway, and I don't know how he got clean through. Went round me, slotted it in. Is what it is. It
seems that out of the 3 goals you conceded, only 1 was a real error.
Yeah.
And the other 2, I mean, if you get it in top corner, fair play. And if you go past you and slot it in, bearing in mind, every time there's a sort of one-on-one with a goalkeeper and a striker, it's always in the striker's favour.
Yeah.
Especially if they go past you, you can't be expected.
And then we played the league game the week after the friendly and I couldn't play, and we won. Did I ever show you? I was complaining that someone scored a worldie against me from the half, 30 yards.
I thought you were going to show me. That time where you hurt your ankle and your leg.
Couldn't find the clip of that.
You couldn't find the
my
clip.
first ever game.
I was talking to some of the lads yesterday about this, and I was
great!
It was on Zoom, Jason. You weren't invited.
Oh, great! Even better.
Well, you're here now, aren't you? Fucking hell, Jesus!
I'll show you the clip of the goal that I conceded.
All right, can you pause it so I can have a look at the fucking Jesus Christ? He's got no idea how to fucking do a podcast, has he? Oh, excuse me. All right, let's have a look at this, shall we?
And I think you'll be like, yeah, no chance there.
So where are you? Are you the one to the left, or I know you're a goal? Are you the one on the left of the phone or the right?
To the right.
To the right.
Going towards the goal.
All right, let's have a look, shall we? To be fair, went off.
To be fair,
off the crossbar.
That's like a fucking worldie goal.
That's a pretty good. I wouldn't be too worried about that.
No, but you are annoyed though. I am like fucking prick. It does break my heart every time. Anyway. And to be fair, looking at it, it is about 30 yards out.
Anyway, the other day when I was still employed, so long ago it was. No, it was only about a couple of weeks ago.
Last time you had a shower.
Yeah. And it was about 8 o'clock in the morning. Laura was working a night shift, so she went to work about 7 o'clock the previous night.
Yeah.
She was meant to be home about 8 o'clock that morning as I was waking up. I got a phone call at about 7:30 from an unknown number, which I ignored, obviously.
Of course.
All right. And then I got another phone call from that unknown number. I ignored it. And then I got a third phone call from this unknown number, and I ignored it. Anyway, and then I got a text message from Laura saying that she was literally just handing over her work to the next oncoming day shift, and she fainted, and she smashed her head on the floor of the hospital, and she was texting me from the A&E department because she went unconscious.
Oh.
And she was in A&E, like, with, all the
fuck.
stuff.
Why didn't they leave you a voicemail?
I don't have voicemail. She said that as well.
Right.
I don't want voicemail because I find it irritating. And frankly, even if they had left me a voicemail, I wouldn't have listened to it. So it's sort of irrelevant. But so she had a concussion.
Why did she faint?
She and her family have got a fainting gene. No, it's true. They have
weird, isn't it?
They have a fainting tendency.
Imagine if you rock up to a family partner, you're all fainted at once, and you're just stood there like, right.
This is not my problem.
See ya.
But anyway, so she fainted, and then I had to go and get her because obviously she couldn't drive home. Bless her. And she had a pretty big concussion. And we got a little leaflet with the things. Yeah, so I had to monitor her for the next 48 hours just to make sure she didn't relapse or had like a proper brain injury.
I bet you were annoyed by that, weren't you?
But yeah, well, obviously, because I had to leave my work, and by my work I mean I had to leave me working from home to go and get her.
From the job that you were already leaving anyway.
Exactly. She landed on the side of her head. Ooh. So she got a bruise in her hairline, but also she got a big black eye. So then so then when she went to work the next day, in a few days' time, she had this ginormous black eye. Looks a little bit suspicious, doesn't it? When you return to work and you say, I had a concussion.
I hit it. And
then you've got it's just
I fell over.
I hit it on a door frame. You should probably point out to people when they ask that it wasn't me who just hit you.
You say that, actually. That's a fun story.
Oh, really? A fun story about domestic violence?
No, it's not a fun story. So when Arthur was born, Cassandra was in hospital for a few days, and because Arthur was in intensive care, you know about all that. And they were trying to take blood from Cassandra, and they couldn't do it. And she had a massive bruise. It was disgusting. It was a bruise, probably as you can see, the size of my hand and her arm. It was covered her whole upper arm.
Sorry, what?
Fucking hell, her whole upper arm. And I don't know why it was happening, but Arthur was said in intensive care, and one doctor was talking to us, and there's a load of trainee nurses watching, and I could hear one of the nurses talking, whispering to the other one, whilst the doctor was talking to us, saying, "Look at the bruise on her arm. Do you think he gave it to her?"
Oh.
And I can hear that.
What did you do?
I didn't say anything. I couldn't. What can I do? I can't be like, "Oh, no, I fucking didn't."
Well, you could easily turn to them and say, "No, I didn't do that."
Yeah.
Genuinely, I'm worried what I would have done in that situation. I reckon I would actually walked up to him and say, very calmly, "I did not fucking do that." Okay. As I said to Laura...
To be fair, I was more worried about whether my child would survive, to be fair.
Well, that's fine. That's fine.
So, to be fair, I was very stressed out, so I could have, got angry. But, it's worrying how quickly... And because obviously that's what you see all the time, but it's worrying how quickly, people's... she must think now, still, nearly 2 years later, remember that girl that was in hospital that was being beaten by her husband? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. When Laura came home, and when she wasn't out of consciousness.
Did she say anything silly while she was unconscious?
No more than usual. So she was in the car, and she was a little bit drowsy, and obviously she had a head injury. And I said, well, fortunately, it isn't like you had far to fall to hit your head. Obviously, she's very short. Which she didn't find She didn't find very funny. But, alas, anyway. Anyway, shall we end the show by doing a Cat's Comment Corner?
90 degrees, that's the corner. A type of settee, that's the corner. Trap your enemy, that's the corner. Cat's Comment Corner. That's the real corner.
So, the first one, it's a very short comment. It's actually on our last episode.
Where was the comment posted?
It was on Facebook.
Okay.
And it's on our last show, which got over 50,000 views, which is pretty good. Pretty good.
I thought we weren't allowed to do that anymore.
Yeah, well, it isn't me saying this is what we got, I'm just saying that this happens to be what we had. Anyway, this is just a one-word comment from someone called Sheikh Nazim Anwar.
Oh, yeah.
And it just says, in full caps, informative. That's all he says.
I'm glad we can help. That's hilarious. I'm glad we helped him, to be fair.
That is good.
That is really good.
That is good. The second one, this is an advert in the newspaper, and it's an advert to try and get young women to be part of the Miss Southampton beauty competition.
Okay.
Unfortunately, in the advert, I think they chose probably not the best wording to do this. So in the advert, it says in big red letters, "How would you like to enter Miss Southampton? Here's your big chance."
Oh, wow. How many men applied for that? I bet you did, didn't you? I bet you put your name in the ring.
And that was all over Facebook in a second.
Of course it was.
How would you like to enter Miss Southampton? Here's your big chance. It's like, well, here we go.
What's she like?
That's fantastic. Now the last one, again, this is more of a personal one. This is one which based around Laura, and the only reason that I'm doing it is that Laura hates it.
Okay.
Basically, she got her wedding dress dry cleaned from our wedding a few weeks ago, and she finally got it dry cleaned. And the dry cleaners
in Felixstowe. I like that place.
And the dry cleaners took a photo of her dress, and obviously they want to put it on their Facebook page and say blah blah blah. And so they said, "Love doing this one for Felixstowe's very own little princess." Now I think they meant that in a nice way, but because Laura's obviously a very short lady, that came across a little bit patronising, didn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And so when she opened her Facebook, before she'd even been told by the dry cleaners that her dress is ready, she was looking at her Facebook and saw that, and saw all the people commenting on that,
God.
and just saw oh shit, that's my dress.
Oh my God, that's awful.
Yeah, but it isn't awful because they obviously didn't mean it in that way. But I find it a little bit patronising.
I wonder if because I use that dry cleaners all the time. I wonder if they posted the pictures of my suit.
Anyway, we're going to end the show right there. So just like to say thank you for listening. We had a good turnout last episode, so
we love it.
So fingers crossed for another good episode this week. But just like to say, stay safe. Whatever your local lockdown laws are, then definitely pay attention to them. And wash your hands.
We are.
Stay safe. And we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, Dan.
So, Jason, where can you get more Sweet Connection in your life?
Well, Ben, we are on Facebook at Sweet Connection Podcast, and we're also on Twitter at SweetC_podcast. So you can give us a like or a follow.
And you can also find us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and Podbean. So if you enjoyed the show, you can give us a rating or a review or recommend to a friend.
And if you wanted to email in a topic or a question or just say hi, it's thesweetconnection@outlook.com.
And if you like this show, you should definitely check out all the other amazing podcasts on the No Please Don't Network. Visit www.nopleasedon'tpodcast.com. Massive thanks to CIPP and Carlyle Laurent for all of our jingles. Thank you for listening and catch you next time.